Hello there, John here. Want to continue where I left off on the webinar I put up on YouTube the other night, all about essential selling skills for salons. But before I begin, it's me, the salon doctor, or in my case, I would call it the dog father, our rescue dogs. And I wouldn't doubt that I'll be visited by one here pretty soon because they want to get fed and they'll come in for snacks. Anyway, lots to talk about here. I want to continue where we were, where it was last time with salon selling essentials. And I think one of the things to talk about really, again, is your pricing. I've done easily 300, maybe 400 of these over the years, and really have, I think, again, along with my clients, we've perfected really what pricing should be. And this is really key for selling, because if you look at this is just a sample. This was a real retailer. Look at my cursor, but I'm not telling you who it is. And I want to say for FTC purposes, I am not suggesting certain prices for everybody, just showing this as an example. But the idea is that you're showing pricing that gets cheaper as you go into more commitment and each given level. And then you're showing also pricing, if you look at the cursor, that's a small step up from one level to another. Now, in this case, there was a bigger step up here because the equipment was so much better than what was in the, call it the super level. But anyway, there's so much, almost somewhat arbitrary decisions have to be made on pricing. And that's why with my clients, we work through that. I just got off a conference call with a client right now where we were going over their pricing to get them set. And hopefully we'll all be able to use this pricing and all of the great things we're talking about here, all the selling essential skills, and we don't have another COVID. Hope not. Okay, so assuming that we don't, and trying to be positive about all of this, so let's talk a little bit about, because it's a little bit of a reminder of what we talked about last time. And again, the number two, not number one, but the number two most important selling tool for tanning salons is the salon software, because it tells you so much. It tells you what level the consumer is tanning at, assuming that they're a consumer that you had before, a tanner before. It tells you what level they're at, tells you how long they've been on it. That can also be a clue to what you can sell them, to upselling to the next level. If they're on an entry level tanning beds, are probably not getting the best tan, obviously, that they need. It also tells you when they bought a lotion, the last time they bought a lotion. And so that's the number two most important selling tool. We need to have our salespeople, our sales consultants, looking at that software, and not just looking at it, but using it as a tool. It's a very important tool. And if you feel that they're not using it, and you'll know, owners or managers, you'll know if they're not using it, because you can just look at your results, whether it's your lotion average or your PSA average, or you look at the individual metrics from the salespeople that you have. It's a cold world out there. We're asked to produce, all of us are in our own way, and salespeople should be asked to produce as well. But this software is the number two. The number one, of course, as we've talked about before, in the fragrance world, it's the sample bottle, and in the tanning world, it is the salesperson. That's the number one selling tool that we have. Okay, so let's talk about the actual selling process. And what there is there's 5 stages to it. You've got, and again, for some of you that have been in the business for a long time, this might be boring to you or whatever, but maybe for your salespeople it isn't, and I would recommend that you have your salespeople look at this webinar. The first one we did, which has now got, I think, 80 or 90 views just in the last couple of days, and this one, the continuation and climax of it, will also get as many, or not, if not more. So, but there's 5 stages. There is, of course, the welcome stage when the customer first walks through the door. That's an important stage, and we'll get into that in just a minute here. There's the evaluation stage of what do they want and what do they need. And because sometimes they're different. Sometimes people want something that, you know, if they're a redhead with freckles, they may want to go to the highest pressure of tanning, and that may not be what they need. And that's why our sales consultants have to be real educated on this stuff. We should not leave it up to the consumer to be the judge on where they should tan all the time. Also, we've got the tour, the actual tour of the equipment. Now, when we do our pricing, and as you saw in the pricing before, or we've done it hundreds of times, we put an icon of each level of equipment. So if you can't do a physical tour, it's there for the customer to see as you're going through the pricing with them. But anyway, so the tour is talking about the facilities, the equipment, products, the options, okay? And then you've got customer guidance, a presentation of them for them to buy. It is from a selling or buying psychology. It's much better that the consumer believes that they've made the decision to buy something as opposed to them feeling later on that they've been sold something. We all know that feeling about going and buying a car, and after we leave, we're having a little bit of quote unquote buyer's remorse because we really wonder, did we actually make the decision to buy that, or did somebody sell that to us? And that's of course very common with selling or with used cars and even new cars. Okay, customer guidance, and then the close. It's a collaboration on what is best for the customer, and it is a collaboration. And we'll get into that in some of that in just a minute or two. So let's move on, and so let's talk about the welcome stage. And remember, we buy and rebuy from those that we know, like, and trust. We have to like the person. We want, now it's different if you're talking about fast food. I don't have to like the person at the Wendy's drive-up. I don't even have to know them. I don't even have to trust them, because as I'm driving away, if I don't have that double with cheese, I think I've had too many Wendy's doubles with cheese. So immediately in the tanning business, we want to work on the rapport with the customer. That is enormously important. Again, it's because we buy from those people that we somewhat know, and we must like them and trust them. So welcome stages are very important. And the sincere greeting, and not just, hi, how are you today? That's a sincere greeting. Hi, how are you today? What's going on? People come to tanning not for a fast food experience. They come there to invest their time and their money. They come in there for indulgence. And some people, and you notice it says on here, is that sincere greeting done with an empathy. How are you today? And people like that. Now, some people maybe won't react to it like maybe you think they should, because they've got other things on their mind, and that's okay. That's cool. But at least you show that you do care about them with that sincere greeting. Okay, next, you got to study their body language. Are they in a hurry, or are they approachable? Because sometimes people are just in a hurry. I'm taking my lunch hour. I want to run over to the tanning salon, and I can get in and out and back to work in 15 or 20 minutes. That may be what they want. But as we all know in this business, a lot of times we are unlicensed psychiatrists or psychologists, whatever. People want to tell their problems to us. And if they're not in a hurry, is there an opportunity for upselling to a higher level of equipment or lotion? So that's why you got to get that rapport going. You have to have that sincere greeting, and you got to study their body language. They may be in a hurry and they don't want to chit chat with you, but as we know, a lot of people will want to tell you about their divorce, their boyfriend, their wife, their whatever. And if you don't have somebody else waiting, listening to them really becomes a very important skill, and it may very well not only cement them as a customer, but cement them as a customer long term. Okay, next, there is absolute magic in remembering numbers. Numbers. Well, if you're an owner, remembering numbers is important. But in selling, remembering names is very, very important. I drive by 2 dry cleaning places to get to a third one because that lady has remembered my name. And she's also, this is really bizarre, remembered my cell phone number. That one's really hard to believe, but she does. She's got a photographic memory, which is pretty impressive. Okay, now here's one that's really, really important, and that is you're trying to get a commonality with the person. In building that rapport, you're trying to get something where they have something in common with you. And when I get to talking about how we get some of that, you'll see what I'm talking about. But commonality is important. And by the way, it's important for you owners, not only for the consumer, but it's also when you go to recruit and interview possible employees to come and work for you, that commonality is critical because you want to take away the fear of interviewing and they want to see, you want them to see you as a real person. So when you're looking at their applications and you see that they uh, maybe graduated from this high school or wherever they're from, this part of town, whatever, if you can come back to them, oh, I see, you graduated here and I went there, or my son or my daughter went there. You want people to have something in common with you and take away that fear. Now that's recruiting, interviewing, and I'm about to do, my next webinar is going to be on interviewing, and it's just super important. We're assuming that we don't have another lockdown, hopefully, and getting some people that are really, really good salespeople, that's very important. But it's super important too in getting customers and to stay with us. And part of that is that what do you see in that rapport that you can compliment about the customer? Now, let's be honest about this. When you get down to it, that can anyone be complimented? So think about this. Vanity rules. It rules for all of us, not just for women. It does for men too. We're just vain in different ways. A man might be vain about his new Ford 150, whatever, pickup truck or whatever. I'm not a giant person on pickup trucks, whatever, but I do like my Cadillac. So we're vain in different ways, and women are vain in different ways from men. So let me just show you some things that salespeople should be saying or should be looking for when someone comes in the door, whether it is a new customer, excuse me, or a current customer. Look for little comments that make a big impact on the consumer. If you remember to my last webinar, it talked about the self-esteem, National Self-Esteem Association in this country. People in general are not walking around with super high self-esteems. And some compliments here and there's some sincere compliments, I would say. Not phony, because people can pick up on phony. But if they're sincere, people love that. We all love that. Um, I'm still at the very old age of 73. I still play basketball. And of course, I can't keep up with kids that are in their 30s or 40s anymore, but I don't really care. I don't want them to compliment me on what I'm wearing when I come into the gym. That would be a little weird, right? But if I make a good shot or I make a good defensive play, I'm expecting them to compliment me on that. So we all have certain vanities. So let's talk about some of the suggestions. And this is just, you can come up with your employees, you can come up with a whole list of ways that you can compliment somebody. And of course, you wouldn't give a customer 9 compliments when they come in the door because that would look phony. But here's just some of them. Oh, love your hair color. Where did you have it done? My wife, who is 70, about 15 years ago, she's blonde, very blonde woman, and she started putting purple highlights in her hair. And I thought, oh boy, this is middle life crisis. What? I couldn't believe every place we went, every restaurant, shopping, wherever we went, groceries, every place, uh, go to the veterinarian, go to our doctor's office. Everybody was complimenting, oh, I love your hair. The purple highlights and blonde hair. Now, to a man, that sounds kind of crazy, but okay, men, we do things because we want to be noticed and we want to be complimented. Women do too. So hair is a very personal thing. Love your hair. Where did you get it done? And oh, well, I got my hair done. Bang, the rapport starts. Or how about, that's a great necklace, because it's a very personal thing. You're trying to compliment them on personal things without being too intrusive. Okay. Um, okay. Love those earrings. Those earrings are really pretty. Again, these are personal things that people, they're not just wearing them because they had nothing else to do that day. It's a reflection of how they feel. Where did you get your nails done? I'll tell you, I see nails, women having nails done, and Jimmy John's. I I can't believe sometimes I look at some of these nails, the intricate detail of them. I just can't understand how women can type with long fingernails. And I know they type on the, I guess, the balls of their fingers or something like that. But anyway, nails is a very personal thing, and women are always looking for um, a suggestion of where to get their nails done. They're always looking for that because nail places, getting your nails done well is good, but also it's nice to be there with somebody doing your nails that has a little bit of personality, right? So anyway, where'd you have your nails done? Those are really cute shoes. Oh, talk about personal things. My wife is probably lower on the scale of shoe ownership, but I'm sure she's got 200 pair or whatever. Um, Cute shoes. Oh, nice skirt, very classy. Now you're talking about a business person, a businesswoman that comes in. And if she's wearing a business suit or a nice skirt, she's obviously, a professional person or whatever. She's going to appreciate that comment because she's in a very competitive world in an office, probably run by men, probably. That's a very cool looking watch. That's really a great looking watch. One of my favorites is my wife has bought me a couple Movados. They're not, the most expensive watch, but they're, I don't know, 1,500, a couple $1,000. I love these watches. They're really beautiful. Uh, that's a cool looking phone. I've got an iPhone, the iPhone 11 that does everything but brush your teeth. I love that purse. Women love purses, right? And all different designs or whatever. My wife has got one of her purses is made out of bottle cap, the caps off of a bottle. I don't have or excuse me, bottle caps off of cans. The snap cap on the top. It is very unique, and she's out with that. People are always asking if we're in a restaurant. A server will say, "That is amazing. Where did you get that?" Um, okay, your ring is really gorgeous. That's a very, very pretty ring. And again, these are all very personal things, but your salespeople, if you're an owner or a manager, salespeople will come up with other stuff, but all you got to do is zero in when the person walks through the door. And so the challenge when I do private in-house webinars for my clients and for their employees, I'm always asking them, you know, what can you see about each other that you can compliment? It's a great exercise at a salon employee meeting. Okay, Lisa, tell me what you see in Megan that can be complimented. Give me one compliment about Megan. And of course, Lisa's under some pressure. She wants to make sure she compliments Megan and vice versa, and we go around the room. But it gives an exercise for people to start thinking about that. To gain a rapport with that customer, how can I gain a rapport? How can I get them to like me and to think that I'm paying attention to them? I don't know about you, but when I invest in indulgence or that kind of a business and I'm putting money and time into it and people don't give a rip about me, I'm not really too crazy about going back there. Now, uh, one I would suggest you don't use is for a fat person, you don't sweat much. I just had to say that. I mean, you know, it's not exactly a compliment. Now, are some people harder to compliment than others? Yeah, they are. Um, but if you look hard enough, you can always find a compliment. And so what I do when I do this webinar with clients, employees, I get them to compliment or pick a compliment on each other, but then I give them a real test. Give me a compliment on this person. And the funny thing about it is they always do. They come up with a compliment, and I heard some pretty bizarre things. Oh, I like the tattoo on the chest. Gee, that's really a great nose ring. Now I'm of a generation, because I'm an old fart. I look at this, I say, whoa, wow, somebody's smoking something, right? But look at, uh, it's not my generation. This one is even a greater challenge, I think. At least one thing about the earrings, you could take them out and you got to have a game of horseshoes or something. I don't know. Okay, so moving on from that, let's go to the next stage. The next stage is the evaluation, where you engage the tanner, and we go back to the Salon software. What does the computer say about this tanner? What level they're at? How long they've been on it? What lotions they're using? Because this is all stuff. That's really important. Tan history, status, and you've got to check that data at what levels they're at, how long, what levels, the use of lotions, which one. And this is a real important thing for you salespeople. And I talked about how you, when I'm talking about sales consultants now, you are the #1 selling tool in the tanning salon industry. Yes, we can go and spend $300,000-$400,000 on the build out of a salon, have a great location, be paying on a per square foot an upcharge that's, you throw in everything, we're paying big bucks for that location. We can have great marketing, all that kind of stuff. But if you put a dud behind the counter, it's not going to help you, because people are coming there for ambiance, but they want an upscale experience to spend their upscale money. So you put somebody behind the counter and they're whiter than I am. I'm almost albino. And so you want somebody that's got color. This is why I recommend all my clients, we have two codes within their job descriptions, that there is a dress code, what they're wearing for bottoms, tops, that kind of thing, even shoes, what they can do in the summertime, blah, blah, blah. But there's also an appearance code. Is the hair done? Do they have some nice makeup on? Do they look what they're trying to sell? They're trying to sell an aspiration to this person that comes in. That's what they're trying to sell. Okay, got to make sure. Yeah, okay. So anyway, and so if you're a salesperson and you're whiter than I am, what are you selling? I come in and I look at you and you look almost albino. So if you don't want a UV tan, at least the owner should let you spray tan. But I would say it to any owner, I'd say it to any manager, if an employee shows up whiter than me, they're adhering to the appearance code. So, okay, now also when you're looking at the evaluation, you're looking at skin typing. Are there any cautions? A redhead walks in the door and they want to get in your high pressure bed and they want to stay in it, to look like lobster thermidor. We have to, I mean, this is the last thing our industry needs is somebody getting burnt and putting it on Facebook or whatever. So there has to be some cautions. We cannot give up authority of how people should tan. We can't give that up. We can't, if somebody comes in and they're a type 1 and they want to tan for 12, 15 minutes, kind of an exaggeration, but if they do, we have to take responsibility and say, I honestly don't think that that's the best bed and time frame for you. That's why, by the way, with all my clients, I said, let's not talk about how many minutes they're going to tan. We're giving up our authority, our expertise in tanning. We shouldn't be selling that. We shouldn't be selling minutes. That's another webinar. Okay, so skin typing, are there any cautions? So what are their tanning plans and desires? Duh. I mean, that's a real, do they have an ongoing desire for color? Are they strictly a seasonal tanner? They may be. We take them all, but we're hoping that we can take seasonal tanners or temporary tanners, or people that are event-based, and maybe we can convert them to wanting to keep some color. So getting that good base tan, building on that a little bit, and then maintaining it, because it's a lot easier, as you well know, to maintain a tan than to let it go away completely and starting over. Okay, now the big question in the evaluation, and it never, ever fails. This question never fails. Are you getting as dark as you want? It's so rhetorical, it's disgusting. Because now, if somebody comes in and they're tanning at the top level of your equipment and they look good, maybe you don't ask that question. But if they're down at a lower level, maybe, just maybe, they need an upgraded experience. And I tell you, I didn't come up with this rhetorical question. A client of mine did, 15, 20 years ago. And I've been using this every time I do a training on selling. Say, make sure that when you look at that software and it tells you where people are tanning, how long they've been tanning, and you know that they're at a lower level and they're tanning maybe once a week, they're not getting a good tan, and you can see it when they come in. You ask them that rhetorical question. Are you getting as dark as you want? It's rhetorical because most people, if they don't say it, in the back of their mind, they're saying, yeah, I'd like to look like Rihanna. I mean, And by the way, Rihanna tans. She spray tans because she's got some blotchy pigmentation. So, but everybody wants to look, that tan wants to look dark. And most of the time they say, well, I don't know if I really am getting as dark as I want. That's the time to talk about an upgraded experience. So sometimes people are stuck in a rut. And this, for owners or managers, I can't emphasize this enough. This is so important. Stop thinking about selling upgrades. Selling upgrades is a waste of time, because I'll tell you from doing research on hundreds of salon companies, from big chains to single salons, it's a waste of time. Because a lot of times those upgrades, they sit there in their account, just like sessions. We have to have sessions, unfortunately, to start the price reduction process. But the upgrades will sit in there, or they'll say, I've got a reunion coming up. I'm not going to use my sessions. I'll wait until 2 weeks before the reunion, and I'll tan my brains out, and I'll use all my upgrades. That's not good. That's not good tanning management. So why sell upgrades? Sell upgrade levels. That's what is key. It's key for the salon big time. If you take somebody from an entry level up to the next level because you gave them a free upgrade, and some owners are going to be watching this or managing, oh my God, this will get out of control. If it gets out of control, it's a management issue. It's not a marketing. A marketing and selling approach would be to get people to the next level. It's a management issue if you're not looking at the software that manages your sales transactions. If you're not looking at that and you're saying, why is salesperson over here giving this same customer free upgrades all the time? So don't take, as they say, the baby and throw it out with the bathwater. Give the freedom to your salespeople that if they say, are you getting as dark as you want to? And they say, well, no, I tell you what, here's what you do. I normally charge, I know there's $6 or $8, whatever your upgrade charge is, to tan in this next level bed. Look, would you do me a favor today, Tanner? Would you tan in that bed and tell me your opinion of that equipment versus what you're in right now? Now, okay, couple things. You're giving them a free upgrade. Who doesn't like something free? Number two, you're asking their opinion. Who doesn't like their opinion asked? I'm giving you in my webinars my opinions, not based on emotionality. They're based on working with 546 different tanning salon companies. But everybody likes to have their opinion asked. Believe me, I like my opinion asked. So everybody likes that. You get that person to go into that free upgrade. This is why, by the way, when we put together EFT programs and a new client starts with their EFT program, I'll tell them, I tell you what you want to do. On those lower levels of UV tanning, tell the customer, well, for signing up today, I'm going to give you your first week of upgraded tanning free. I won't charge you. And if you tan 3 times, and we normally charge $8 for an upgrade, I'm going to give you $24 of tanning free. Is that okay with you? Yeah, okay. So that's, use upgrades as a tool. Let your salespeople use it as a tool to get folks to step up to the next level. All right, so let's talk now about the tour. And the tour. Now, let me go through what a lot of salons do. I personally feel is a mistake. I felt it for many, many years. I've been in this 30 years, and I'm telling you, I've seen this at least 25 of those 30 years. I thought it was a mistake. The mistake that they make is that owners or managers will say to their salespeople, try to sell them the top number one UV spray equipment that's got 300 bulbs, 6,000 watts, uranium 235, and it's going to cost them this much per month, and then a bottle of black for 150 bucks. I absolutely feel that is a huge mistake, because everything the consumer can't afford at that level, every time you come down to a level that they can afford, you're down selling. You're much better off to upsell. Where did I learn this from? I'm not brilliant. I learned it from Best Buy. Years ago, Best Buy used to sell from the point of view of good, better, best. Oh, okay. Here's a television for you, consumer. This is a really good television. It's got this option, got these bells and whistles. This one over here is better because it's got this, this, and this, and this. It's more expensive, but it's better because of these reasons. Oh, listen, you want the esprit de corps of televisions? It's this one over here, and it's because it's got this, this, and this, and this, whatever. Sell up. And if you can do it, you do it on a walkthrough. If there's not another tanner in the salon at the time, take them back to it. So here is what you're talking about, and look at the bells and whistles. Look at this next one. Oh, this one's got the acrylic is body contoured and whatever, and it's got um, the smelly the smelly stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, it's got all of this and it's got all of that, and it looks sexy. It looks like a spaceship that's just landed, you know. So, and then of course you present the small incremental per session cost to get to the best. That's how the tour should start. Now, sometimes you can't do a physical tour. That's why you want to have icons of the equipment on your selling price sheet. Okay, always present the features and benefits. And remember that sometimes when you present features, that may not be a benefit to that particular consumer. But if you're saying, you salesperson, if you say it's a benefit to yourself, oh, listen, nobody at the window at Wendy's can upsell me. I mean, if I forgot to order fries, great. But boy, I can be upsold in an indulgence salon, a place where my wife and I, we get our hair done, we get upsold, you know, all the time. You can be upsold there. You're there to make an investment in something very personal to you, your looks. I guess if you eat too many Wendy's doubles with cheese, that's not a good investment in your looks. Okay, so present the features and benefits of all of the equipment, and then listen what's important to them. Now, they may say, you know what, I don't have as much time to tan, and so let's say that you've got some stand-ups. And usually a stand-up is a faster tanning piece of equipment than a laydown. So that's just kind of a one example of where they're looking for something specific, and it might end up being that it is strictly just price, and that's why you got to go back to the cost per session. Okay, and then of course you want to show them how simple it is to activate the booth or the bed. Don't forget them to show them the restroom and the after tan facilities. I love the salons that in the after tan facilities have the mirrored counter. I can't remember it, where if that lady's got time, and I assume, you know, most of our customers are women, if they've got the time, they can go there, redo their makeup or whatever. It's a spa type atmosphere in a way, without having to have all of the machinations of a spa that don't always make you money. Okay, so if time exists, show them all the equipment levels. We were talking before about good, better, best. Who knows? You may have somebody that thinks they're on a budget, can only spend X amount per month, and they get up to, assuming that their skin typing is okay, and they get up to that spaceship that's landed. Who knows, you know? So you want to show them all the bells and whistles, and of course recite all the prices. Okay, now that's the tour. Now you get to customer guidance and you present the options. You want to steer customers away from sessions packages. Now, we have to have sessions packages on the pricing. You got to have it. I know that there is a salon chain out west. I won't mention their name, but all they offer is an EFT option. I would not do that. It's great if you're in a market that's a higher economic market, household income market, and you're the only guy in town, maybe, or gal, you can get away with that. But you have to have a sessions package, because, you know, some sessions package options, because people, not everybody is going to want to buy off on an EFT, but if you at least to get them into a 10 sessions package or a 30-day package, whatever, you have got opportunities to upsell them and make them a longer staying customer at higher levels. So, but in general, you want to steer customers away from sessions. If they want to buy 10 sessions, try to sell them a 30-day, because at 30-day, and if they tan an average of 3 times a week, you're getting them 12 times instead of 10 times. Okay. The problem with sessions too is if you don't compress timing to a definable timetable to facilitate opportunities for upselling, that becomes an issue. What happens, people tend to take their upgrades and their sessions, and they're like checkbooks. Oh, I'm not gonna, I've only got 9 sessions left or whatever. You don't want people holding back to come into your salon because they don't want to spend their checkbook. They don't want to spend their sessions. We have done research on salons, and salons looking at their numbers. A chain, I won't mention where they're at, but when we redid their pricing, they were doing a lot of BOGOs. And marketing is a whole different webinar that I want to do for you folks. But they would do BOGOs. They had EFTs, and yet they would do a EFT selling, but they do a BOGO every other month. Buy one, get one. Duh. I mean, it's a good way to keep people from buying EFTs. It's like when we first started out in this business. We first started doing Groupons 10 years ago. First Groupon I did for a client was April of 2010, and that was after flying into Chicago and meeting with Groupon management and talking about tanning. But anyway, if you do a Groupon too often, you do a BOGO too often, then what we found in this one chain is we had people that had over 100 sessions sitting there in their account. Now, that's a rather unusual one, but it's not unusual at all for me to find people that that we look at the software and we see that they're not tanning, but they still have 20 or 25 sessions sitting in their account. All right, so we have to selling sessions is better than selling nothing, but we want to steer them away from that. All right, because if you're increasing your membership sales, memberships are where all the money is made, baby. Let me tell you, those salons that are knocking down 170, 180, $190 on a per customer average over a year, and they've got an EFT average draw that's well over $50 a month, they're making big bucks. And they're making it because they're selling memberships. Memberships increases TANs or visits or transactions, if you want to call it that, and that's more opportunities for added sales. So got to have sessions, but we want to get people away from that, get them in at least into a 30-day or certainly into an EFT. And explaining in this customer guidance the various services and equipment on a price per session or per TAN comparison. That's what you want to do. You don't want people to look at a price. And by the way, if you sell a package that's an annual package and it's $300-400, take that off your pricing sheet, because you don't want people looking at that and say, holy crap, this is expensive. I didn't know tanning was this expensive. When they can look at a pricing sheet that each level of tanning, as you go down on the level, the pricing per tan gets cheaper, assuming 12 TANs per month on a 30-day or an EFT. If you want to assume 15, if you want to assume 10, whatever, and you do your pricing, it shows that the price drops the longer that they commit. That's where you get customers to buy in on memberships and you keep them. Price per session comparison. So what does that do? A price per sale or per TAN comparison is an easy selling presentation. We start doing this 9 years ago, 10 years ago, and we had a chain down in Oklahoma that was sandy beaches, and now, it's glow tanning now. And we did this 9 or 10 years ago, and we had salespeople down there that were not long-term salespeople that, had been in the indulgent selling game for years. We had one 19-year-old nice lady, name was Melissa. I won't tell you her last name. In the month of April 2015, 2016, she sold 42 EFTs in 1 month. And the vast majority of those, stayed on either a 3 or 6 month EFT plan that they agreed to. And she made buku bucks. And I remember the owner telling me, he says, look at the check I've got to write this lady. I said, look at the check you write for yourself. That's what you have to look for as an owner. That's why I always say, make sure these salespeople have a nice, healthy bonus for selling EFTs. Okay, it's an easy presentation. We've had salespeople say to us, by showing this pricing, John, the way that you outlined this, a lot of times the customer looks at it and says, well, gee, I'd be a damn fool to not, get it. They may not say I'd be a damn fool, but they'd say I'd be crazy not to go along with a membership. Look how much cheaper it gets on a per session basis. And that sets up that obvious value of membership for consumers. And that obvious value of membership keeps them around. Now, last webinar, I talked also about scripting or patter, and it's up there. I'm not going to repeat everything I talked about on the last one, but here's the first thing I do want to repeat. The only thing I want to repeat on this: scripting is a very personal thing. Patter is a very personal thing. We can teach salespeople, give them an example about patter and selling and what to say to the customer, and that you can do that, and that's good. Get the people in your salon that are really good at it to maybe sell or to teach the other people that work there. But here's something that's very important. This first part, I want to go repeat this from the first webinar, and that is that selling is part natural warmth and plus a positive attitude. But let me talk about, first of all, about natural warmth. Natural warmth. If you get a chance, do some research on the Gallup organization. The Gallup organization that does polling for just about every event you can think of. And they came up with a book years ago called First Break the Rules, Break All the Rules. I wish that this was a book that I had written, but I've studied it in great detail. I've read this book probably 11 times. And even though I have an MBA in human resource management, this puppy is an excellent book because it talks about skills, knowledge, and talent. Skills and knowledge are things that we can teach people, blah, blah, blah. But talent are natural, reoccurring attitudes and efforts that people make. Natural, reoccurring attitudes and efforts. People that have natural warmth have it naturally. It's not put on. They like other people. So we should be recruiting people that like tanning, that are nuts about tanning, and really like people. And of course, that all comes out in the questions that you use in an interview. And I have the most hellacious, great researched list of questions, specifically not for Wendy's, but for tanning salons that I have on my website, and I think it's also in my vault, which I'll talk about in a minute. But again, natural warmth, super important. All right, let me go and move on here. Let's talk about the close, because you're selling. There's different kind of closes. One's called a premium close. Hey, buy this today, and I'll give you this, that, and those. A real common is that, well, we've got this free tan week, and your tan is free today, but we also have a special going on lotions, or you're tanning free for this week, but if you buy a 30-day package, I'm going to give you a discount on a 30-day package. It's only good for this week, but it's a premium to you even being here. That's also sometimes what we call a sense of urgency close. And you can do it also on selling EFTs. And then there is what we call the sense of urgency close I refer to. These prices and extra goodies are only good through this weekend. We are bombarded with this as consumers all the time. We're used to it. We're offered this. The Black Friday week or Pink Wednesday week sales that are going to be going on. I've only put together about 40 of them so far for clients, assuming that COVID doesn't interrupt this, but it's all about a sense of urgency because it's a special for that week. There's also what we call the presumptive close. You go through everything, you talk about the equipment, you talk about what the a price per tan, maybe it's a lotion discount that you're giving them for signing up that day, whatever, and you're covering maybe several different levels, assuming that you've got a tanner and you don't have 9 other tanners waiting to get in. The presumptive close is that which of these plans is best for you. It's, in other words, I have referred to before, asking the consumer to be emotionally involved in the buying as opposed to feeling like they're being sold something. What do you think is the best plan for you? Well, based on these prices, whatever, I think this level in the middle, I think that's the best tanning equipment for me, best price. I like the discount, whatever. So what do you think is the best plan? I have a good friend and an ex-client. He's still a very good friend, Jim Todd, who's got salons down in Somerset, Kentucky. He's this very, very successful tanning salon owner. He was a client of mine, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, whatever. Jim had been in sales, automotive sales, and he used this when he was dealing with his customers. Which one of these plans is best for you? It's getting people involved in the buying process. Okay, and then of course, finally, it's what we call the shut up and close. It's like when the customer starts asking about how to handle their payments, it's time to just shut up and close. So, because sometimes people get involved in their selling and they get so involved that they've forgotten that the customer is ready to buy. All right, so let's go to a summary here. Let's talk a little bit about this. Okay, summary. Keep in mind that most tanners in each new season currently do not have a tanning package. Most of them don't. Yes, you do have some memberships that float over into the next peak season, and let's pray to God that we have got a peak season that's coming up here in 2021 and not going to be interrupted. But most people don't have a tanning package when they go over to that. And that means for you, the salespeople, there's some huge opportunities to sell and make bonuses, which usually increases lotion sales and lotion sale commissions. All right. How about often the presentation of EFT buying on a per session basis can self-sell as the consumer sees the benefits of longer commitments or agreements, not contracts. Contracts, we strike that from the record. We don't use that word. Upselling from tanners at any level is easier if you show that the incremental cost to tan at higher levels. And that's right. So when you're saying, and at the last webinar I said this as an example, well, Miss Consumer, do you realize the level you're on right now? You like that free upgrade I gave you. And by the way, you can change your membership and it's only another 83 cents. And that was just an example I used in the last. If you didn't see the first Selling Essentials webinar, you should go back and look at that. But if you tan at that next level where I gave you the free upgrade, it's only 83 cents per tan more. That's how you got to sell it. That's real simple to sell. Okay. And then the second most important tool, again, I want to reiterate this, is the tanner's data in your salon software. If you're not looking at that data, if you're not using that to sell, you are missing the boat. So owners, how can you tell if you're an owner or a manager? If you're selling people are using that software, look at their numbers. If you've got somebody that works for you in the salon and they're knocking down $2.50 a tan as a lotion average, and their PSA is $9, $10, $11 or whatever. And then you got somebody in the same salon that their lotion average is $1.05. That person's not selling. The customer may have by accident bought something. That's how you'll know. You look at your back end office software and see what your people. Now that doesn't mean that you go in and you take that person that's at $1.05 and you beat the heck out of them. Train them, develop them. I've seen people develop from being the worst tanning salon salespeople to being the best. It just takes some commitment on your part. And so you, the sales professional at the tanning salon, are the most important tool for selling. You are the number one important thing. And that's why it's so important that we hire the correct you to do the selling. So, and you're going to ask a lot of times the salespeople say, what's in it for me? So a quick look again. When you look at, this is just a sample of, a pricing sheet. This, by the way, is what we do as a working document. It is not the final document that the consumer sees. But notice in there the suggested EFT bonuses. So this lady, and I could give you a lot of examples. I just using Melissa down in Oklahoma City. Melissa sold 42 EFTs, and I believe that she made, on the pricing we had, she made an average of $7.50 per each level that she sold. Now they were lower levels than what you see, or higher levels than what you see here, but 42 and you get 750. I mean, boy, that money adds up real fast. And then if you're selling, salespeople, if you're selling all those EFTs, why would a person buy an EFT level from you and not buy a lotion. That's insanity. So, and if they're buying a 3-month or a 6-month EFT and they want to buy a packet, they're missing the boat. That's where you have to jump in and say, listen, you're going to need more than that. Some people slather it on, some people are very scotch with it, whatever, but generally speaking, if they buy an EFT, they're going to be buying lotion. So again, the pricing is super important, owners. I've done hundreds and hundreds of them. Did 3 today. Okay, last and certainly not least is if you want to know if this old guy is full of garbage or not. Okay, so here's a list. If you want a sample list, you can email me and I'll give you 30 more, whatever. But these are people that have got their names, their phone numbers, their emails. You can contact them and say, is this guy, is he old and senile? Does he know what he's talking about? And every time, by the way, if somebody calls me, and this is a standard approach I've used over the last 2 years, somebody will call me and they'll say, well, I'm thinking about, I'd like to hire your services. I say, no, don't do that. And whatever you do, don't trust whatever I tell you. Whoa, John, you have been smoking something. No, trust these people you see on the screen. Trust any of my clients. Call them, email them. Hey, does this guy know what he's talking about? What were the results like? And let them tell you what it's like when we work together. And then when you do that, you'll see that whatever money you're spending on me, in terms of the long run results, even short run, it's peanuts. I do it because I'm semi-retired and I love this business. I love being in a business where we can sell self-esteem. What can I tell you? And so next thing I want to show is I want to get to another slide and it's not working for me. Here we go. So back to if you need some help and you want a makeover for your business. I've done so many makeovers. It's like, and I don't think that I'm the smartest guy in the tanning business. I'm just very good at plagiarism. I copy what works. Every new client I take on and we go through the development process, I come up with more goodies of how to do this better, how to do that better. So, and your first consultation is free. We'll get on for the phone for an hour. You'll share some numbers with me to begin with. It's all confidential. And I'll tell you, here's where I think you have some real opportunities. The opportunities might be in pricing. They might be in your salespeople. Excuse me, they might be in your marketing. I've done it all. I won't buy equipment for you. I'm not as good at that as some other people in the business. J.R. Homer in Pittsburgh, a buddy of mine, he knows how to buy equipment. He's very good at it. But when it comes to HR, marketing, pricing, strategy, all of this stuff, I've been doing it for so long. So there it is. That's my sale to you. And you want a free consultation? Look at the bottom there, www.johnrfarr.com. So send me an email or give me a call. And my number, and I don't know why it's not on here, but my cell number is 859-250-8475. And I will tell you the same thing I just got through telling. Don't trust me. You don't know me. I don't know you. But call some of these clients and ask them. And then you'll know where we're going. Anyway, thank you for taking the time to listen to this. This is the completion of the 2-part series on selling essentials. I would strongly recommend that you use this with your selling staff because, the Lord willing and the creek doesn't dry, as they say. We've got a peak season coming up, and even Black Friday week, even with December, there's real good sales opportunities. And then we get to January where it's all about market share, baby. Because if you've got competition, believe me, they're going to be out there with swinging a sword to get those customers. So I want to thank you for taking the time and listening to an old guy. I hope to hear from some of you. I'd love to work with you and get you ready for 2021. So you have a good selling season and pray that COVID doesn't hit us again.